Hello everyone, welcome to Tzu Chi This Week. I'm Duncan D8 and it's great to have you with us. A team of medical professionals made care visits in the Shuangxi community of New Taipei City to check on local residents. In Taichung, we'll meet a dedicated volunteer and a survivor of multiple illnesses who aims to accompany and encourage others facing illness. And we will visit a Daai school in Indonesia and meet a teacher who is offering free Chinese tutoring for students at the school. In Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers recently made their regular visit to New Taipei City's Shuangxi to check on the living conditions of some care recipients. Among them was Mr. Lan, who was bedridden and paralyzed 3 years ago. He has made some progress in his rehabilitation, and with Tzu Chi's medical assistance and care, he continues working diligently on his rehab treatment and can even take care of himself now.
Tzu Chi volunteers pay a regular care visits to New Taipei City's Shuangxi, which has a large elderly population. Volunteers bring charms to these seniors to wish them well. This is Mr. Lan, who is pushing the wheelchair. He works diligently to do rehabilitation.
3 years ago when I saw him, he was bedridden and paralyzed. Now he wants to prove to us that he isn't lazy to do rehabilitation, though his electric wheelchair is broken. So he came to see us off with his walking aid. With the encouragement of the medical team from Taipei City Hospital, TIMA members, along with volunteers, Mr. Lan has learned to take care of himself and made some progress in his rehabilitation process. Yu Huijin is deeply moved. Life isn't always smooth, but as long as you have intentions to change your thoughts, you can make your life much better. With care visits, city volunteers can personally understand each family's living condition. What makes them feel at ease and joyous the most is the laughter and the smile of these seniors.
Next, we will meet a young girl from Hebei, China named Han Hongying. Hongying was born with brain damage, which has kept her paralyzed her entire life, even though she is physically healthy. However, with modern surgical techniques and the support of her Tzu Chi family, the young girl was able to undergo an operation that will allow her to control her limbs and hopefully learn to walk. Here's more of her story. Han Hongying was born with a brain injury which resulted in paralysis. With the help of Tzu Chi volunteers, she is now preparing to go to Beijing to undergo a surgical procedure.
这是你人生的转折，你可得把握好时间，知道吧？
姐姐说我害怕吗？紧张吗？我一点都不紧张，因为我知道你们在后面为我助手这么努力，这点勇敢我还是有的。
Hongying's mother first met Tzu Chi volunteers at an aid distribution 6 or 7 years ago. Since then, the family has developed a close affinity with Tzu Chi volunteers.
一袋白面，一袋大米，还有呢盐。
Spring has arrived, and Hongying is brimming with hope and energy. Volunteers have provided some new clothes before the group sets off on their trip to Beijing.
Before, I felt dizzy riding in cars, but with the Tzu Chi sisters, I don't feel dizzy. Today, I feel fine.
The car ride to Beijing lasts over 3 hours, and local volunteers are waiting to meet them at the hospital. They offer Hongying even more encouragement before her surgery.
I may not be like other people who can walk normally when they're young, but I'll still use all my energy and do everything I can to walk normally.
Hongying's surgery is a success. She is already able to control her fingers, and she even has a little control of her legs. Thanks to the support and love of volunteers, young Hongying can now begin a new chapter in a long and healthy life. To better look after the health of elderly people, Tima Kaohsiung Dr. Hong Hong Dien turned a former operation room into a studio where he has been writing computer programs which help to keep track of the health of elderly patients by storing information in the cloud. Seniors can upload their blood pressure and other information at any time so that volunteers can monitor any abnormal changes. The doctor is using science and technology to promote community health care.
Hospital records used to be filled out on paper, but now the use of software allows such records to be accessed at any time. The designer of this software is 76-year-old orthopedic surgeon Hong Hong Dien.
After resting until about 10 o'clock in the evening, I will play on the computer till about 2 o'clock before going to bed. I will do this every day.
From a young age, he loved playing with the computer, and his studio seems quite simple, but actually it's an operating room with some 30 to 40 years of history. Before, he used to help a lot of people regain their health, but now he helps elders keep track of their well-being. Every day he sits in front of this computer thinking of ways to develop a database to better keep track of health information.
With a computer, you can set up a program that can do or accomplish something. This always attracted me.
He's always thinking about different programs. Every day he sits in front of the computer and thinks about what to do.
In recent months, he has also built a cloud-based health monitoring system. Scanning this QR code, you can always log in blood pressure data in this cloud-based storage, and it can be accessed at medical stations at Jingse Hall. Hung's consultant is software engineer Zhang Youan.
I just helped with web and cloud portion of this program. Most of the work was done by Dr. Hong.
Dr. Hong's blood pressure monitoring program has entered the finals testing stage, and soon it will be deployed to local communities as an important weapon in the battle for good health.
In our next report, we meet a devoted Tzu Chi volunteer from Taichung, Taiwan. Deng Shufan suffered from a serious illness more than 10 years ago. That was when she began to understand the impermanence of life. She began serving as a medical volunteer and now regularly cares for patients in the hospital. Even though she is still troubled by multiple illnesses, she persists in her work of accompanying other patients to battle their diseases. Her devotion has inspired many. Let's learn more about this incredible volunteer.
This patient lying in bed is explaining his health condition to Deng Shufan, who is asking him to be brave and strong. In the eyes of many patients, Mrs. Deng is a very considerate volunteer.
As volunteers, we should always be attentive, humble, and nimble, as well as speak good words.
As a volunteer, Mrs. Deng usually discovers patients' problems before they ask her for help. More than 10 years ago, Mrs. Deng suffered from a serious illness. It was then she experienced the impermanence of life and placed to serve as a volunteer, though she has been troubled by multiple illnesses over the past years.
Actually, I know she feels pain all over her body, but she always says if she can tolerate the pain for one day, then it means she gets through that day.
Ailments have become Mrs. Deng's nutrients in her life, and her strong will inspired many patients.
I also have cancer, and I suffer from concussion 3 times. I also had my uterus and gallbladder removed. I'm also troubled by arthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. I also have Jagger's heel. Can you tell I'm sick?
When Mrs. Deng feels tired, she may read books to relax. When she encounters any patients in a hospital, she always steps up to care for them.
When nurses don't have extra time to talk to the patients who feel lonely or helpless, these medical volunteers can do this for us.
Though Mrs. Deng herself is a patient when she serves as a volunteer in the hospital, she feels that only when she helps others can she realize the true meaning of life.
I think being a medical volunteer brings me much more happiness than owning a lot of fortune. I cannot use money to buy this.
In Malaysia, to raise funds for the construction of a Jingse Hall in Muar, Tzu Chi volunteers from 4 areas have come together to sell food in Johor Bahru. Many customers showed up to support the event and contribute to the new Jingse Hall, with many pledging even more support for such a noble cause.
To raise funds to build a Jingse Hall in Muar, Tzu Chi volunteers organized a vegetarian food sale in Johor Bahru. Chong Yu Fa and his wife, who provided the venue, also help out.
We did not come to work. We came to do a good deed, helping you guys. We simply provided a venue. So we don't feel any pressure. Instead, we feel excited. I felt that we should organize the events in Johor Bahru. Therefore, I kept encouraging my younger sister to give us this chance to cultivate blessings.
A lot of customers show up this day, showing support for this meaningful event.
It's a fundraiser. Since they have this need and it's within our ability to help, we do our best.
You are serving the public. We are also happy to donate. One never fears doing too many good deeds.
Well, it looks like it's a charity drive. I think it's a good thing, so fully support it. Yeah.
Volunteers from Moore, Ulu-Tiren, Kota Tinggi, and Johor Bahru work together at the event.
Tzu Chi volunteers are one family. It does not matter where we are from.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Malaysia work with one heart. Since we are building Jinsu Hall, it is everyone's business.
The volunteers work together with one mind to gather everyone's strength as they build a spiritual cultivation ground, Jinsu Hall.
In Indonesia, a Chinese teacher at the Sengkarang Daai school has started a free tutoring class for students interested in learning Chinese. She believes that if students can learn Chinese well, they will eventually be able to attend university in Taiwan and find high-quality employment later in life. Therefore, despite her busy schedule, she gladly teaches students Chinese for free during her spare time. Here's more.
Then Song Sil, a Chinese teacher in Jakarta, welcomes the students coming to class at her home. She recently started a free Chinese class, hoping to improve the language ability of her students.
For local people, learning Chinese is difficult because we are not in a Chinese-speaking environment, and Chinese vocabularies are hard to memorize. Nevertheless, I tell the students that with determination, nothing is difficult. By reading and doing more memorization, they can better learn Chinese.
Then Song Sil teaches at the junior high of Sengkarang Daai School. Though she is busy with work, she was still willing to sacrifice her spare time to help students. There's a good reason behind this.
I think if children from Sengkarang Tzu Chi village can study at universities in Taiwan, they will be able to find better jobs upon returning to Indonesia. Therefore, I'm willing to teach them Chinese.
Since her home has limited space, she has only accepted 3 students. Nevertheless, because this class is small, the students are able to learn well.
Most Chinese cram schools charge expensive fees that we cannot afford, but I really want to learn Chinese. Now that the teacher Then is willing to teach us for free, I feel lucky to have met this good teacher and learn Chinese.
Gratis untuk anak dusun.
In Teacher Dan's class, she gives us examples and explains things clearly. If we still do not understand it, she will explain again until we get it. She is a very patient teacher.
Having been a teacher for more than 10 years, Then Song Sil has placed students' needs as her primary concern. She hopes they will be able to find decent jobs after they improve their Chinese.
Suzhou of Jiangsu province is an area with many migrant workers. To help the children of these migrant workers, Tzu Chi volunteers initiated a program last year to give these children free health examinations and also support them in their studies. In March and April this year, volunteers went to visit families in the area, and teachers also went along to learn more about the students' problems and living conditions.
Take one step at a time. Your fingers are very good. Take one step at a time. You did it right.
This Tzu Chi volunteer encourages Mrs. Yang to do a therapy with her fingers. The reason is that her breast cancer has caused her unable to lift up one arm, and she wants to give up using the arm.
Breast cancer isn't that serious, so you will live. Don't worry about it, but you shouldn't give up your arm.
There are many migrant workers in Suzhou. Volunteers care about their children's studies and health, so they visit these families to see how they can help.
There are many more people who are in worse condition than yours, so don't you think you have the worst condition? If you think you do, then other people won't be able to see the sunlight.
Volunteers also brought teachers from the school to visit these migrant workers. This family of 6 depends on the father, who must take medicine for his chronic illness.
When I'm at school, I can only see the surface, but after I came here, I realized that I didn't care about them enough at school.
The teachers put aside their seriousness and hug the students, thus bringing them closer to each other.
In celebration of Earth Day on April 22nd, people all around the world organized different activities to do something for the planet. In Mozambique, the local Maputo government held a beach cleanup event, and local Tzu Chi volunteers were also happy to participate. Meanwhile, volunteers in China hosted a mountain cleanup event in Fujian's Fuding, with many children picking up trash alongside their parents.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Fuding organized a mountain cleanup event as part of Earth Day.
When people litter, they don't think about someone picking up the trash later, so we shouldn't litter in the future.
This is Fuding's Mountain Yendun, which is located in the eastern suburbs of the city and is a popular attraction for outings. As people usually leave a lot of trash there, volunteers lead local residents to pick up trash without ignoring any corner.
I think this activity is helpful for increasing children's environmental awareness. This mountain cleanup event is a stimulus for both children and adults. It is great.
Originally, I wanted to invite my classmates to come here today, but my grandma told me about this very late last night, so I was unable to do it in time.
Volunteers also invite everyone to embrace vegetarianism to save energy and reduce carbon emissions.
As parents, we should tell children what they should do through our words and actions. After showing them what to do, they will follow suit. So we should join these activities more often. I think it is great to hold a cleanup event like this.
Meanwhile, here in Mozambique, volunteers pick up the trash at the beach in Maputo as a way to protect the environment. This beach cleanup event is hosted by local governments on Earth Day. Many local Tzu Chi volunteers join this activity to clear out broken glass bottles and pick up a lot of waste. The amount of garbage they have collected is amazing. Before they call it a day, volunteers joyfully sort out recyclables from the trash, even though they may be tired from the cleanup efforts.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Wuxi, Jiangsu, China held a garbage cleanup activity. Meanwhile, volunteers at the Tzu Chi Suzhou grounds taught children how to make vegetarian rice rolls. Let's hear more about these two events.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Suzhou are holding a recycling class for a whole family. They teach children how to make vegetarian rice rolls and encourage them to be vegetarian.
少吃肉，多吃素食，多吃蔬菜水果，对身体有好处。因为外面的
Most food stored out there is garbage. Being vegetarian can protect the earth.
这样可以做环保。
To reduce carbon footprint, we should be vegetarian and also recycle. Nan Huaying and her Japanese mother come to the Suzhou ground with recyclables every time and learn how to separate recyclables.
What one person can do is very little and trivial, but after we came to Tzu Chi, we can join many people and we will become powerful.
很多人就变成很大的力量。我看到瓶子就会捡起来。看到瓶子就捡起来了。为什么呢？ 我要做环保啊。
When we carry out recycling, we must do it in our daily life. And when more people do it, the better it will be. Tzu Chi volunteers in Wuxi, China, initiated a walking tour to clean out Tai Lake.
Many employees pick up bottles and garbage along the road. This is an education about environmental protection for them.
This event is held to appreciate the beauty of nature. The organizer even donates all the registration fees to Tzu Chi to help promote environmental protection.
In Malaysia, a lecturer from a teacher training institute in Kuala Lumpur, Dr. Tan Ai Mei, teamed up with 5 other lecturers to promote environmental awareness on campus. Since Dr. Tan admires Tzu Chi's environmental conservation ideals, she invited Tzu Chi volunteers to give a lecture and hold an environmental exhibition to educate students about the importance of recycling. Here's more.
As the importance of environmental education is attracting more attention, on this day, Tzu Chi volunteers in Selangor were invited to promote recycling at a special education teacher training institute in Kuala Lumpur.
How many years does it take for styrofoam to decompose? 10 million years. So that's why I encourage everyone to stop using styrofoam.
The person inviting Tzu Chi volunteers here is the lecturer of this institute, Dr. Tan Ai Mei. She shows a big support for Tzu Chi's environmental conservation ideals and hopes to spread environmental awareness to each student.
As a teacher, we have the mission to change something in this era. We're very grateful for Tzu Chi's initiatives as they're able to overcome cultural barriers to spread this idea with love and carry out the act of recycling. That all starts from the heart.
Volunteers use simple ways to educate teachers and students about the related knowledge of environmental conservation, as well as the importance of their own responsibility.
Each one of us can encourage 1,000 people. When we start to put some acts into practice, such as using a reusable bag when I go shopping, other people might think it is strange. However, they may imitate our act, which in reality is an indirect recycling education.
I think if a teacher doesn't set a good example for others to follow, then he or she cannot educate the people. So good education means we also need to do everything well in our life. This way, we will be able to educate the people and allow them to know it is very important to save the planet through recycling.
Besides promoting recycling, volunteers also distribute reusable utensils to all the teachers and students in the hopes that everyone can protect the environment.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Pingdong, Taiwan recently hosted an activity full of music and good times by inviting musicians to come and perform for seniors in the local community. That's all the time we have for today. We'll leave you with some images from the event at the end of the program, and we'll see you all next time. Goodbye.